Media studies is essentially the study of the media that is all around us, something that maybe that we take for granted quite often and that we come across so much in our day-to-day lives that we don't always fully know that it's there or the influence that it's having on us. The three platforms that we look at from a media perspective are print, which is basically the written word, the traditional type of media such as newspapers and magazines. Broadcast, which is anything that's recorded on a device, be that a camera or recorded for radio. And e-media, which is essentially online media, which is something that most of you as young people will engage with more than any other platform. All of these things combined form the media that we know, and we study these across a number of different texts and in a lot of depth. Our study of the three media platforms is based around the theoretical framework, which is split into four different aspects. Media language looks at the key ingredients of a media text, and that could be things in a moving image product, for example, such as camera angles, sound, the way that an image is put together. It's essentially the key ingredients of a media text. Representations are the way that the media perceive people and places and things, and how those are placed on the audience through representations. So essentially how people are represented and how the media represents those people so that the public perceive them in a certain way. That's also the case obviously for places and things. Media industries come in all different forms. So we look at big industries like Disney, like the BBC, Channel 4, but we also look at smaller, more independent media industries like Dennis Publishing. We look at these industries in terms of how powerful they are, their influence on society, and whether or not it's a good or bad thing that they have as much power as they do. The final part of the theoretical framework is audiences, and audiences are key to the media. As without audiences, media texts don't exist. So audiences, we look at them from the perspective of who the media is targeted at. The fact that audiences are playing a more and more important role in media is not only are they consuming the media as they would with traditional media, but they're also creating media themselves now. So if we think about bloggers and vloggers, they are former audiences, they are audience members who are creating the media themselves. So we look at audiences from a lot of different perspectives as well. These four aspects of the theoretical framework basically form the whole study of the subject, and we look at those and we continue to revisit those throughout the teaching. Media Studies is a traditional A-level, so it's not a BTEC option, it's not a vocational option, it is an A-level, so it takes the form of a linear qualification which has 2 exams at the end. It's the exam board is EDUCAS, also known as WJAC or the Welsh Board. The exam weighting is 70% exam and 30% coursework. So this takes the form of a traditional A-level where not all of the emphasis is placed on big examinations at the end. So 30% coursework aspect is quite attractive to some students because they're going into the exam with almost a third of their grade already secured. The entry requirements for Media Studies are 5 GCSEs at grade 4 plus, which includes English and Maths, which makes the course quite accessible to a lot of students, to be honest. So Media Studies is a course that quite a lot of students will be able to take because it has entry requirements that are quite accessible. So as you can see from this slide, the Media Studies qualification is split into 3 key components. Component 1 and 2 are exam based, and component 3 is a non-exam assessment or more traditional coursework based unit. In component 1, we look at a range of different media products that are specified by EDUCAS as the exam board. They have chosen these media products as they present students with a number of different representations. They're targeted at a number of different audiences, and they allow students to be able to study a wide range of different products. Within this component, we will look at the theoretical framework as a base, so it allows students who have never studied media studies before to become familiar with it and how to use it to analyse media products. And we will look at those individually. So for example, with music video, we will look at a Beyonce music video and a Sam Fender music video in a lot of depth individually using the theoretical framework, but we'll also look at where those music videos sit within the wider music industry and how they have an impact on their intended audiences. And we do that for all the different products across all the different media platforms. Component 1 is usually studied in year 1, and once we've got to grip with the theoretical framework, we then move into component 2, which is studying media forms and products in more depth. Now in this component we look at 3 different areas, and within those areas again we have case study products that are specified by EDUCAS. So with TV and magazines we're looking at more traditional media, but with some quite contemporary examples. So with TV, for example, we look at The Returned, which is a French drama, a subtitled French drama for an English audience, and we look at that and how it's created in comparison to a British produced TV show like Black Mirror, which uses more traditional production techniques and more marketing that our students will be more familiar with in being a British show. In magazines, we look at Vogue from the 1960s, so we see how 1960s contexts shaped the content that we see in Vogue. We look at the different representations of women, how they might have changed now, and how they might have influenced audiences at the time. And we compare that to an alternative contemporary example of The Big Issue, which has an alternative distribution model. It isn't sold in shops, it's sold by vendors, and also has some quite hard-hitting political ideologies that it shows within its copy. The third part, media in the online age, is likely to be where students feel the most comfortable or feel is most relevant to them. So we look at Zoe Sugg, or Zoella, as an independent vlogger, and how her product and how her image, if you like, has developed over time. Attitude is an LGBTQ+ magazine that has grown its online presence over time, and we look at its online presence and how it has an impact on its intended audience. Component 3 is a non-exam assessment, so we take all of our knowledge from component 1 and 2. We look at in where we've looked at how the theoretical framework has shaped these media products, and we try and apply that to our own. So students are presented with 5 different briefs. They choose one of those briefs, and using the requirements of that brief, they produce 2 linked, fully realised media products. And what that means is they'll create a print product and a web product or an audio-visual product that relates to that particular brief. And in order to do that, we'll teach them to use specialist software such as Adobe programs like Photoshop. We look at the online web builder of Wix to help them to produce these products to a very, very high professional standard in order to get the highest possible mark for that component. And so the beauty of this course is that you've got analytical elements which will improve your writing and your analysis, but also those creative elements which will allow you to create your own media products essentially. So why media studies? Why choose to take media studies at Key Stage 5? Well, as I alluded to in the last slide, it develops a range of different skills. So not only are you developing the skills on new software that you may have never used before to create media products, but you're also developing your writing skills, your analysis skills. And so whatever subject you choose to take at university, if that's where you're choosing to go, or even if you are choosing to go into an apprenticeship or job sector, you're getting a lot of different skills that are going to be transferable by taking media studies. You're going to be very good at analysis, but also you're going to have those practical skills that are going to lend themselves to a number of different sectors. It also allows you to study products that you'll already be familiar with. As I said at the very beginning of the presentation, the media are all around us, and the media are very, very influential in shaping our opinions and also shaping our perceptions of the world around us. By studying these products, it's going to help you to become much more analytical and much more thoughtful about what you're consuming on a day-to-day basis. So rather than just looking at a web page or thinking about a TV show or what you see, it will hopefully get you to realise that what you are seeing is shaping your opinions, and whether or not that's a good or bad thing, and getting you to think a little bit deeper about the things that you're seeing. And then finally, as I've just said there, or I've just alluded to, it'll help you appreciate the impact of the media in our day-to-day lives. So the media represent people, places and ideas. They also have a massive impact on audiences, on society, and on the way we live our lives and the values that we hold. Studying media studies will hopefully mean that you'll never look at the media in the same way again, and will enable you to go forward in your life having an appreciation of your own perspective, but how that perspective is shaped by outside influences. It's a really good course. It's something that I think students enjoy, and I'm looking forward to welcoming a new cohort into Year 12 next year and hopefully growing this course further in the years to come.